for Tuesday, December the 20th. As you can see, it is ugly Christmas sweater, and clearly John Morgan didn't get the memo. And he's being a huge party pooper. But
I wasn't here last week.
Oh, Crimea River, you were on the phone. The winner tonight, although we don't pick winners and all, and Bailey usually blows us all out of the water, and I must say that the red tracksuit is still, can you stand up and let him see the back? Yeah, I know. Pretty good stuff. However, Jonathan Mizell wins the prize. Could you please stand? You need to stand up. Stand up, Mizell. Look. He wins the prize for sure. All right. I am going to ask you all to adopt the agenda for the meeting. I have one addition. If you will add to number 10, not a new number, but just adding some wording to number 10, to say, and to approve the vehicle budget for the elderly and disabled transportation 5310 grant operated through Stronger Together Oxford. That is the only change or addition that I have.
Yes, ma'am, that was it.
Is that it? Okay. With that said, could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, our sales tax numbers are in, and this month, which represents sales tax diversions for the month of October, you know, we always get them 2 months after they are collected, is down 2% from last month, but it's up 7% from the same month last year. It is, however, it is down from last month, but because that was the highest sales tax revenues we'd ever had. So this is the second highest sales tax diversion that we've ever had. 2% food and beverage tax diversion is also down 2% from last month, but up 6% from last year. Like the sales tax, it is the second highest food and beverage tax diversion that we have ever seen. Hotel motel virtually stayed the same as last month, but was up 11% from the same month last year. Last month, as with the other two taxes, was the highest hotel motel tax diversion, and this month was only $2.22 less. So I'd say that Oxford's economy is mighty strong going into the holidays. It looks like our weather forecast has improved for the end of the week. We have moved out of the risk of snow or any type of snow or ice event. We have gotten several calls asking if we're going to be providing a warming center or warming shelter. We did this last year when we had the ice event, and we had it open for 5 days, 24 hours a day. It was manned, it had cots, we had food, and we only had one person come for 2 hours one day. And so I don't know that there's a huge demand. What we are going to do is have our police department and our fire stations available for anyone who needs a warming center. The main reason we did it last year is because we had so many residents out of power that we thought that they may need a place to go. But Shane Fortner, our emergency management director, is on top of it. He has already gotten all the supplies together so that if we see that there is a need, we can quickly open a warming center. But as of right now, we don't have a plan to do so. We are so blessed to have many commissions who do the work of the city, and these volunteers have servants' hearts, and they contribute so much to what makes our community go round. One of our commissions, the Affordable Housing Commission, is working to ensure that people in our community, that live in our community, have a place that they can affordably live in. So I want to thank that commission, first of all, for their hard work, and they sent a letter to this board with several conclusions and recommendations, and one of the requests was asking the city to set aside the city-owned property on Piggy's Road to be used for an affordable housing development, and we appreciate that recommendation. Typically, we don't set property aside for an unknown project. This piece of property is in an area where road construction is planned. If you've been to our previous meetings, you've heard us talk about connecting University Avenue to Oxford Commons through Piggy's Road. And so the path of that road is still not planned, and so we don't know exactly how it will affect that piece of property. But if there's a actual proposal to develop affordable housing on that piece of land, then surely this board would like to consider that. But we think that's really putting the cart before the horse to set aside land for development, and we don't have a development planned. This in fact, may be a really great spot for an affordable housing development, and I think all the board agrees with that. We have no other plans currently for that piece of property, and we have no intention of selling that piece of property. And I've asked the board that as we move further with talking about city property and talking about different things that we need to build to support city services, that we keep in mind that this is the spot that our Affordable Housing Commission would like to see us utilize for affordable housing. So, and last, I'll say that tomorrow is City of Oxford Employee Appreciation Day. And this board will be hosting a drive-through breakfast for all of our city employees. So you department heads in the audience, please make sure that all of your employees know that between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, we will be out front handing out chocolate milk and biscuits. So we hope you'll come through in your fire trucks and police cars and street department trucks and water and sewer and utilities and it all. So, and if everybody can't leave the office, then send one person to get it to take it back. But we do hope that you'll drive through. We hope that the community will take this opportunity to say thank you to our city employees. This week on your trash day, stick a note on top of your trash can that says thank you. If you see city employees working, roll your window down and yell thank you to them and give them a honk. We know that so many people appreciate what our city employees are doing and doing it in some mighty cold weather right now. So I would ask our community to find ways to appreciate our employees. And that is it for the mayor's report. I will ask you now to authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on December the 6th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consider the consent agenda, A, B, C, and D.
Motion to consider consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And speaking of appreciating city employees, I'm so excited that this falls on the day before our Employee Appreciation Day. The Virginia H. Cressman Outstanding Employee Award was established in honor of Virginia Cressman, who was long-serving and a very much loved employee of the city of Oxford for many years. She worked under 4 former mayors and was a secretary, a deputy city clerk, and then served as the city clerk for many years. And we all have our Virginia Cressman stories, and she mentored so many individuals that work for the city now, including myself. I was the director of tourism when Virginia was the city clerk, and she taught me the ropes. And she did that for so many young employees that came into the ranks. The employee who is receiving this award tonight was nominated 4 times by 4 different city employees. And this nominee certainly exemplifies the characteristics that represent both the person and employee that Virginia was. Long-serving and loyal, customer service oriented, always goes the extra mile, always positive. He's always a team player, and you can count on him. Whatever you've asked him to do, it's done. So I'm going to ask the Cressman family, I see Mel and Lee are both here, as well as some other family members. Y'all come up, and I also am going to ask Rihanna. I think, are you coming up to present the award? All right. And Rihanna is one of the 4 people that nominated this award winner.
So yes, thank you. I appreciate the honor just of getting to stand here and do this presentation. And I just want to say, when I came to work for the city, I met Ken, and the first thing I learned about Ken was that he always had a list. He carries it, and I've got money that he's got one in his pocket right now, but he always has a list. And why that's important when I first met him is at that time, he was the assistant. He was not the street superintendent. He was not responsible for all the things, but he always had that list because he was always going to be prepared. He always was thinking ahead, thinking about what needed to be done, what could be done, and because he cares so much about the city, about the community, and that's just who Ken is. It's the extra mile, and that his care, it's not just his community, but also all of the people he works with. I know that there are a lot of our guys from the street department here tonight, and so I would say, you know, he cares about them as well and supporting them and making sure that they have the resources they need, the things they need, the training, the safety. He's done so much as superintendent, and a lot of it is driven by his care for these guys, and he'll tell you, you know, their family. And so that's just who Ken is. And I love a good list, and he always has one of the guys. You know, some days they're, you know, I think they try to see if they can wrangle it away from him. But anyway, so I am very honored to get to present this award to Ken for the 2022 Virginia H. Cressman Outstanding Employee of the Year for the City of Oxford, because I do believe, as you said, Mayor, that Ken exemplifies all of the outstanding characteristics of Miss Virginia Cressman that so many of us that work for the city that didn't know her personally still have heard about and heard the stories of all of these things. So I am very honored to get to stand here and present this.
Come on up, Ken.
Come on up, Ken.
And for everybody at home, she hadn't even said his last name.
That's right.
I just want to say I knew Miss C. I thought a lot of her, so that makes this an honor. And it's an honor in general to be recognized. Thank you.
And he dropped the money.
Right, you dropped your money. Go ahead.
Wow. But these guys back here, most of them back here, they're the ones that make me look good.
And those are the ones that make us look good. Yes.
You know, every year, Braxton calls me and I sift through all these applications, and like you said, this 4 applications, 4 different department heads or other city employees, and that's important. 28 years plus, that's important. As I look through the applications, I see that it's becoming less and less. You know, Mom was 32 years, and I just don't see it much anymore.
That's right.
You know, I talk to a lot of my people my age that they get their 22, 25 years in, and they're going to the house. But it is important. I mean, she loved this building. She loved this city. And, you know, most of my life when I was his age was spent right here playing, or upstairs, or, you know, we were always here. But I want to emphasize to the department heads that are here. I see Alan's back there. We've got Winter in the crowd. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. And I'd like to see more applications, I guess, you know, to look through, but especially like Ken, you know, people that are really deserving, that have put in the time and are really loved by the entire staff. You know, that means a lot, because that's exactly what it was meant to. That's what Mama was. I mean, not everybody loved her, of course, but she was all for the city. And that's all she ever, that's all she ever did.
100%.
And, you know, it's an honor for Ken, and I'm proud that I could choose him. I want to congratulate you and implore that, you know, next year we'll do this all over again. Henry asked me a while ago when he could give the speech, and I told him, well, maybe next year.
That's right. That's right.
But
Well, and the Cressman family generously gives the Cressman Award winner $1,000.
it's a little early Christmas.
And so it is certainly a nice recognition, and so generous of your family. And we love it because it gives us the opportunity to tell our Virginia Cressman stories for 2 weeks prior to it. As soon as we start talking about nominations, we all pull out all our old Virginia Cressman stories. So
Right. And I'm sure she's looking down and she's proud, so I just want to thank the board.
absolutely. Thank you all.
Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you, Mel. Congratulations, Ken. All right, now I will ask Chief McCutcheon to come up for us to adopt a retirement resolution for Oxford Police Department employee James Harper Thomas. We're gonna roast you. Get on up here on the front row.
I told him I had my body camera on in case
That's
he starts
right.
crying. I will say while he's on his way up here, we will round out the class of 2005. So we came in together. There was 5 of us that were hired in that group, and so he's leaving me. I'll be the last one standing. So it's an honor to be able to read this to him. We actually served on shift together for a while, 2 days and in the school. So it's a pretty cool moment. But the resolution says, whereas Harper Thomas has diligently served the Oxford Police Department for over 17 years since his hire in 2005, and whereas Harper Thomas began his service as a patrol officer for 2 years and then transitioned to a school resource officer and ultimately a code enforcement officer. And whereas Harper Thomas was recognized for several awards over the years, including School Officer of the Year, Outstanding Blue Team Member Award, and Dare School, Officer of the Month twice, and the Life Saving Award. And whereas Harper Thomas proudly represented the department serving as an instructor in Alert Active Shooter, the chaplain of the Board of Directors, the Northern representative of the Mississippi Association of School Resource Officers, the State of Mississippi DARE program as part of the Board of Directors, and whereas Harper Thomas has trained, mentored, and educated new officers to prepare them to be successful members of the department and city. And whereas Harper Thomas has made a mark on the City of Oxford Police Department and the entire Oxford community in his dedicated service and joyful attitude that will be remembered for years to come. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude to Harper Thomas for his work on behalf of the Oxford Police Department and the City of Oxford.
I want to thank each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to be able to work here all this time and be able to be a mentor to kids and other officers. I appreciate the chief and all the guys I work with because they're like family. They're not just friends, they're family. And I appreciate each and every one of them that helped me to get to this point. And I greatly appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, could I have a motion to adopt the retirement resolution for Harper?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to accept the reverse auction bids for refuse carts in the Environmental Services Department.
Yes, ma'am. We did the reverse auctions. We had 3 bidders, Cascade, Reg Pacific, and Schaefer. Cascade came in at the lowest at $56.90 per cart, Reg Pacific at 56.99 cents per cart, and Schaefer, $57.90 per cart. We actually do not recommend the the 2 lowest. I have a binder full of differences, and I pointed out for Ashley to spread upon the minutes of the differences or what we need to do for auditing. But permission to
Spread them.
well, whatever.
That's what it's called.
I know, I just love that.
Well, that's what the auditor's office tells me to do.
That is 100% correct. Don't listen to the guy.
I'm trying to keep us
Don't
all
listen to the
honest.
guy that won't wear a Christmas sweater to the meeting.
Grinch.
The Grinch.
Oh,
Keep going.
John and your jokes. So, permission to buy 8,500 carts at $57.90 for a total of $492,150, and this will be for setup and delivery.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. It's been a long time getting to this point, hasn't
Oh,
it?
John. Thank you.
Request permission to submit the 23-24-5311 grant proposed budget to MDOT and authorize the mayor to sign the application for federal assistance 424 form for the Oxford University Transit Program and to approve the vehicle budget for the elderly and disabled transportation 5310 grant operated through Stronger Together Oxford.
Yes, ma'am, thank
It's
you.
a mouthful.
It was a mouthful. So our budget is pretty much the same as it was last year. Normally we have 5 vehicles that, in the heavy-duty buses, but this year I'm doing, for the 23-24, it's just 3 of the cutaways. I think we have enough of the heavy-duty, and so that's the route we want to go. With that, I also am, and this is just a proposal to MDOT,
I'm asking permission to purchase a Coney heavy lift for our shop. Currently, we have the ones that just roll around. We have called the repair person 3 times this year. It's good for the littler vehicles, but for these big buses, we really need something, I think, stationary on that floor. Just
Safer.
for me to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was added, so that was $125,000, but overall, it was still less than what it was last year. So the city's share would be less, $116,000 less than what it was last year, even adding the lift in there.
Well, that's wonderful.
So everything else was pretty much the same.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? You've got it all attached.
We approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Donna.
So do you want me to go through the budget for the vehicles on 5310, or are y'all good with that?
No, I mean, I think we're good. We want to continue that program. We got to have vehicles to
Yes,
do it.
ma'am.
So, there you go.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, request permission to approve the insurance rates, although I'd like to not, for calendar year 2023.
Insurance is something we all need but never want to use. And this year, our employees used it a lot. We're well over 100% of our annual premium. Therefore, Blue Cross and Morgan White have asked for a 6% rate increase. Now, I will say that back in 2019, we were going to face a $500,000 annual premium increase. We renegotiated that and went through a grant and were able to save that money and go down. So we're still not to the rates they requested back then. So we're up, but it's not as bad as it could be or was even recommended just a few years ago. But that will cost an additional $140,000 approximately this calendar year. And also our Sun Life life insurance, which is a $20,000 mandatory policy, went up 11 cents per employee and 7 cents per employee for the city portion, which is about a $60 annual increase. And everything else was a rate hold. So I am asking approval for the 2023 insurance rates.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Some things you just don't have a choice in. Request permission for retired Officer Harper Thomas to purchase his service weapon for $1 as allowed per state statute.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit to close Van Buren Avenue from 9th to 11th Street on March 1st from 4 to 11 for the 20th anniversary celebration for the Oxford Film Festival.
Yes, ma'am. Kenny's here. I think Matt's here and has an image as well. Kind of what we came to agreement on was a proposal to close off 11th Street, the Lyric, there to the back of that. And that closure would be from noon.
John, is yours showing up the out thing instead of the?
No, my whole
Okay.
thing
Sorry.
crashed. Now they want me to do
Okay, no, his is pulling it up. It's just mine that doesn't. Okay, I've got a paper copy of it. But anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going.
So on the north side of 11th, we would close the alley there at Blue Delta, starting at noon, and then our goal is to have it back open by 11. Our biggest issue is we did not want patrons not to be able to access the Uber drop-off.
Transportation.
So again, kids things happening in between from 4 to 7, music up until 9, and then everything moves inside, and then breakdown would begin. So I feel like we're
Sounds
all
good.
in agreements with that plan.
Okay. And whatever alcohol issues, you're going to work that out with ABC, is my understanding.
We've already been speaking with the ABC.
Great. I'm just making sure that we're all on the same page, that you're going to do that. And I also want to say thank you for being patient with us as we kicked this down the 2 weeks later. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your new energy for the film festival. We really do. So I'm kind of a wet blanket most of the time. That's what this job is. But it's not because I don't appreciate what you're doing. So
Safety first, the teamwork. I had to make sure that everybody felt good about having this party.
Absolutely.
For you guys all.
Yeah.
So It's gonna be a great time.
Well, I appreciate you being so easy to work with, really do. Okay, so the only other thing, and here goes wet blanket number 10, but I just realized this today, that it says that you would like to project up onto the blue water tower?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, I've got some concerns about that, and I haven't talked to any board members about it. I don't know if they had caught that, because it's not in the way this Word document printed out, it's not in the space where I would have thought that would be, so I'm sorry that I'm just now catching it.
Kind of entered as a.
Yeah, no worries, I just missed it. But that and the banners for the light poles. I will just tell the board my opinion, and obviously the board can do whatever they would like to do, but, you know, we didn't even let Visit Oxford put up pole banners for Holly Jolly Holidays on the square, because I think that one of the things that makes Oxford unique is that we've not commercialized a lot of the things that we do, and we've kept our square pristine and historic, and you know what I mean? We haven't done what a lot of other communities that I see kind of lose their authenticity by commercializing too much. Right. So what I would love to talk to you about, and I'm sorry I wasn't on my A game to see it earlier than this, but like Holly Jolly Holidays has done the pole banners down University Avenue, which is where the event is. 100%. What if you did them on Sisk, where the movie theater is? Or
yes,
let's talk about it. We can talk about a different option. Is my point.
Any way that we can get that, because I feel like that we're a fixture in Oxford as well, and it hurts my feelings when somebody says, "Oh, we have one of those here," and or that was last week, and I just want to make sure that we make sure
I get it.
Enough time to. And it is. It's our 20th anniversary year.
So let's talk about somewhere off the square
100%.
To do that.
That'd be great.
So I'm not opposed to the banners being somewhere. Does the board feel different? Okay. Yeah, or down Sisk where the movie theater is.
Do we have polls?
No, I mean, he would have to, it would be a cost,
So
I mean.
I'm trying to incorporate all of the best parts of Oxford in this year's experience for our festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have lists of places where that would be the most effective. To put
Great, that's great. I feel strongly about protecting the square from being too overly commercialized. I think that's important. Now, I'll hang a light on anything, but not real big on the pole banners for anything other than double deckers. So, okay, and so projecting under the water tower.
Yes.
We've done that one time before when the Oxford Chargers won the state championship football game 3 years ago maybe, and then when Ron Shapiro passed away, we also allowed someone to do that.
And that is kind of the tradition that we're trying to continue on, since our festival is based in all of the art that the Hoka brought to Oxford, and so kind of using that as a way to us convey our 20th anniversary activities that are going on, thought would be a good way to remind those folks who saw that what we're all about.
Well, this is what this is my concern. I don't want to be asked to do that by every group that comes along, and what I don't want is a digital billboard downtown. 100%. We've fought them even on Highway 6. I really don't want one downtown that's promoting, here's a schedule of events, here's whatever, which is what it sounded like you would like to put up there. I would like to talk about doing a static image of some sort that just says film festival with what the date is, you know what I mean? More of a logo or something like that is up there, but I don't want it to be something that rotates or gives that light up billboard feel.
Right.
Again, in the middle of downtown.
It would be very artsy.
Well, let's work towards that.
Yes.
Can we do that? I mean, just to kind of have some further discussion on that. So I'm gonna pull those two things off of the approval.
Okay.
Until we kind of have details on that. Is that good with everybody? And we'll go from there. But it's not a no, it's just let's.
And happy to work with and like have all the photos or stuff. That
you know, when we put it up there, I don't know if you know how it has to be done, but we did it by hiring a dude that had a projector, and he put it on the hood of his car, but then we had to pay him hourly to sit out there in the parking lot the whole time it's up.
Right.
So,
I'm a dude with 2 projectors. We got that covered.
okay, good. A dude that wants to sit in his car for 6 hours every night.
Well, hopefully-
You might recruit somebody for that job.
Our lovely volunteers.
That's right, exactly. Okay, so then what we are asking the board to approve is option number C, I think, is what it's, which would close both of those alleys for a period of time, and he has been so kind to work with us and figure out a way that it doesn't disrupt the transportation up, that for when bars let out, because it is an Ole Miss baseball game day, and so that will, I think it's a good compromise for everybody, and will still give this event really good visibility and area to be outside. So is there a motion to do that, or to pick one of the other options?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And let's continue to discuss those 2 other things. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much. We're
Absolutely.
going to be having a birthday cake contest. So you're going to come out and try all the different birthday cakes available in Oxford.
I like that.
Cast your vote.
I like that. Okay, next on our agenda is request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the Ada chapter of Sigma Chi to host a 5K run on Saturday, April 15th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yes, ma'am, we'll work with UPD on this to schedule the route. We kind of have our standard 5K route around the square, so it should not be an issue.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Axon Enterprise Fleet Camera contract.
All right, so as you guys know, we did this 4 years ago. We're going into our last year. We met with Axon reps, and their suggestion with us, obviously, is they're making a pitch. We've enjoyed the contract. We've enjoyed the work the partnership we've had with them. This is just kind of the quick and fast on all of the numbers. Their projected increase going into October of next year is a 10% hike. So our contract ends next October. So if we stay with Axon, if we stay with the equipment, then we obviously go into another contract. What they're wanting us to do is a 10-year deal with an option that any board can opt out at any point. So there's no hard and fast on the 10-year deal. If we go into this, there's no budget increase until 24-25. Once we get into 24-25, we're looking at, from cars to tasers to our body cameras, about $100,000 difference. And that's not including if we wait till October to re-sign that contract. It's that plus a 10% increase across that contract. If we stay with what we currently have, meaning we don't get any upgrades, any services, any support, all of our data right now is unlimited and it's in the cloud. If we don't re-sign the contract, then we have to pay for all the data, which would then be a $40,000 fee every year, and it would go up because there's certain things that we can't delete off the cloud. Once we make an arrest, if it's a felony case, then it's there 25 to 75 years. So that fee would only go up throughout the 10-year contract. The new contract obviously does our body cameras, our in-car. It also has a really neat feature. If an officer pulls their weapon, then it has a sensor that connects to the body camera that automatically turns it on. So it wouldn't be a situation where something hot jumped off and you're trying to do 2 things. As soon as that weapon is pulled, it's just like the taser. As soon as the taser is pulled and it's on, then your cameras start to activate. So that is a part of this new contract. Obviously, our redaction program, our performance program, the new part allows us to go live. So if I'm at the house and we get a hot call, I can get on my laptop, I can log in, I can watch what's happening live. The officers get an alert, their camera turns a different color. Our supervisors are using that currently and they love it. So we love the system, we love what it's doing. It's been great for the city, it's been great for us in being able to build transparency in community relations, and so we feel like this is a good plan moving forward.
Hope you good with it? Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And next is request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Axon Enterprise Taser body camera contract, which he just touched on in that
Same thing, so moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to renew the 23-24 City of Oxford Towing Service Rotation Agreement.
When we brought this to you guys 2 years ago, it was a 2-year contract. We elected to go with 2 tow companies for the city. Both those companies are doing a really good job. We don't have the complaints, we don't have any issues. We're just asking to be able to sign that for another 2 years. Both companies want to stay in the rotation.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an MOU for the LESO program.
This is the federal program where you can get equipment. There's all kind of stuff on there. The only thing that we have ever had from the city of Oxford is our Honor Guard rifles. And so when the presidency changed hands, they re-changed some of the words. And so the contract has to be re-signed based off that. And basically the only language is if you want some of the high-speed tactical stuff, you have to meet other requirements. We don't have any of that, but we do have to sign the new agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to amend the Oxford Police Department's policy number 2.08, personnel benefits and compensation, to add clarification to the rate of pay for overtime work.
We found this out with HR. When our DUI grants, the way the grant wording is written, if an officer signs up to work these details, it is an overtime detail. But because they're paid through the city and then they're reimbursed, if they're off a day, your hours have to match, you have to hit that number. This just makes it, if they're on the detail, it's an overtime detail.
It's just a wording change in our policy.
Correct.
We've been calculating it that way, but this allows the grant
To recognize
people to
it.
recognize that. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to amend the Oxford Police, that's what I just did. Consider a proposal for Mid-South Tank Consultants for inspection and washout of elevator water storage tanks and clear wells. You know how I love those water towers to be clean. Great sweater.
Good evening,
and bow
thank
tie.
you, appreciate it. So we're due to have an inspection performed and washout of our elevated tanks and clear wells, and this item covers that. It's in the budget. Just wanted to come get approval on that.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? I would also like to recommend, well, I'll say it after the next one. Consider proposal for Mid-South Tank Consultants for exterior pressure washing of elevated storage tanks.
That's the one you said
That's
you
my
liked
favorite
better.
one. That's my favorite one.
You don't care about the interior.
The inside, the outside though.
So the last one was Department of Health requires it every 5 years, so that's why we're due. This one, we've got some mildew forming on the outside of 2 tanks. It's the Whirlpool tank and the Park Commission tank here behind City Hall down there, downtown. And so we'd like to have those cleaned off and looking beautiful for the future.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? And what I was gonna say is, I recommend, and I will post it on social media when they start cleaning it, don't let me miss that. Because when you see this guy hanging off the top of that blue water tower up there, I'm like, holy moly, it is something to see. I can't imagine deciding, I'm gonna wash water tanks when I grow up. It is
Yeah,
some
when you look at the
dangerous.
price, you think, why is it so expensive? And then
That's
you go
right, and then
do
you
it.
see the guy hanging off the top of it. Yes, it's amazing. Thank you, Rob. Request permission to approve a final plat amendment for case 2918 McMonty for the Lamar Phase 4 for property located at the west end of Cincinnatus Drive, being further identified as PPIN 5067. Hello.
Good evening. It's a fairly simple request to modify, although it is an awful lot of lots in there. They're modifying the subdivision to actually add 4 lots in the southwest corner around a community green. The rest of it remains unchanged. The applicant did provide letters of approval or support of the lot owners that they believe are directly interested or potentially adversely affected in this modification. The Planning Commission did unanimously approve this request, and so staff recommends approval of the request to modify this subdivision with the 3 conditions in your report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Ben. Request permission to accept the bids received and award a contract for the lighting retrofit project at M Trade Park.
Yeah, hey, so we opened the bids to retrofit the lights at the park, and good news, they came in under budget for our base bids. Now we have 3 quads, which we're going to try to get eventually. So the base bid and quad A and B came in at $1,002,000. We had, what's that?
What was the total budget?
Total budget is 1.2. All right.
Yeah, we have 1.2 in the M Trade budget line for this project.
1.2. In reviewing the ad alternates, and we talked about adding the light show, and after kind of a lengthy discussion, just felt like that wasn't something that we needed at this time. I guess the discussion will need to come in, if we take add alternate 2, which is, we'd be able to light 2 more baseball fields, but it would take an additional 123,000 in the budget to cover that.
Over the 1.2?
Yes.
Yes,
Over
we have
the
to amend.
1.2.
And I asked Ashley to give us an update on what we have available in tourism money and in Baptist money that was unallocated towards projects. And Ashley, I'll let you do it so I don't get it wrong, but.
Okay. If you remember, we discussed a lot of different things during budget, and we couldn't really come down on a single project, so we budgeted a lump of $700,000 and 2% as kind of unallocated. It was just an amount for projects that came up. There's also $1 million budgeted in Baptist, kind of the same way, as a lump sum for projects that y'all determine
Waiting until we
later in the
finish with
year.
the police department final cost and the park commission building and seeing what the pool comes in at, those kinds of things, just so the public knows why we were unsure. We don't have firm estimates, and every estimate that we have gotten as of late is double what we projected it to be. So we were hesitant to commit firmly to a specific project there. We are in the estimate phase with several, but there was also in the 2% though, there's 329,000
Right.
that is unbudgeted.
Yep.
Okay, besides the 700,000 that we set aside for those prioritized projects. So there is 120 to be utilized to do those 2 other fields. You know, I was really loving the light show idea, just because I like for M-Trade Park to always kind of have something that other parks don't have, that when people are saying, oh, why should we play in that tournament instead of this one, we always have a little something extra. But after talking to Brad about it, I think it's not enough sugar for a dime. I mean, it's, you use them sporadically, and we have so many different fields going, and it may be distracting to fields beside it if you're, you know. So I think that it makes a lot more sense to utilize extra funds if the board wants to set them aside to get more fields done rather than the light show.
To me, it's worth going to alternate 2. You know, it's 120,000 over budget, and it's not gonna get any cheaper to light the fields. So while they're out there working, go ahead and do alternate 2. I'll make that motion.
And does your motion include to amend the budget as needed?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. Consider a change. Hey, Brad, when will they start on that?
So,
Oh, they've done it.
we notified the contractors so we wouldn't get jammed up like during our play. And so the quads A and B will be done July through August, which is kind of when we're down a little bit. And then Ebbets and Double Decker, we're gonna get them to do in May. So they're gonna work around our tournament schedule, et cetera. So.
Good deal.
One question before we move away from this item. Where would y'all like to take that money from, 2% or Baptist?
2%.
2%.
All right, thank you. Consider change order number 2 from A.S. Fournier Construction for the City Hall Pocket Park. Have y'all looked at the Pocket Park?
Yes.
It
we're
is
making
looking
progress.
amazing. I'm so excited about it.
So AS 4A is seeking a 20-day extension for the Pocket Park project. The memo, including your packet, has a detailed timeline. Due to some early delays on our end about moving the chiller, we started the project on August 15th of this year with an original substantial completion date of November 30th and a final completion date of December 15th, which is obviously passed. This letter from AS 4A is requesting 20-day extension, which would move the substantial completion date to December 20th, which is today, with a final completion date of January 4th. And in there, our contract didn't have an allowance for weather days. It was just a calendar days, and it didn't include extra time for rain.
But it did it not, Bart?
No.
I mean, we didn't add days for rain, but we,
But what we did say and tell them in the notice, in our notice to proceed, that they had trouble with the materials that we needed to know on the front end.
right.
So, about 6 or 8 of the extra days, that may have been materials that they didn't ask for on the front end. There were 4 days that for sewer line,
Yeah, there's some latent conditions. They found a sewer line that wasn't marked and an electric line that hadn't been marked, and we had to shift some things around, which wasn't there.
So that's six of the 20 days.
We're not talking about a bunch of money, you know, $200 a day for, I don't care if we just, I don't know. How do y'all feel about it?
I mean, we've held other people's feet to the fire on these liquidated damages, and that's why we've put it there. But I do think that we have had a very rainy season, and we have had several other issues come up, like, electric lines and water lines.
They had a
that-
piece of,
The sewer line and water line were absolutely our
Yeah.
Those 6 days is absolutely.
and there's no way we
And
can.
it has been super rainy, so I get,
So what's the substantial completion?
what I don't want, John, is for it to, for our liquidated damages dates to be, not consequential. I mean, they need to,
Oh, I agree.
What completion date now do they have?
Well, today is if you grant us the 20 days, then today would be the substantial. We'll start counting.
So they
So
started.
they're still gonna have.
We'll start liquidating damage tomorrow, and
they're
through the
gonna
end of the
work
project.
they just don't have to pay them from December the 4th or 5th.
Yeah, November 30th.
Yeah,
So they're still incentivized to finish.
Right.
that's right.
Absolutely.
And I do believe there have been,
And there probably been that many days, 15 days.
Move we
isn't that what you
approve
said?
today.
Second.
all right, any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, and the park is looking amazing. Thank you, Mark Levy. Consider a request from Graham Fiber for extended work hours for the installation of aerial overlashing of fiber on West Jackson Avenue.
Yes, thank you. Graham Fiber is asking to work at night on West Jackson due to the traffic, and if the board approves this, they would like up to 2 days. They believe they can complete the work in 1 day, and the last we discussed on Friday, they wanted to try tomorrow night. So if the board approves beginning to work, they're local, I'm gonna say local, they are in Pontotoc, and so they can come over here at any time, at any day that the board determines, or the chief and I determine if the board would grant that authority for them to work, and what they're gonna have to do is be up in the bucket trucks, lashing that fiber onto that power line through there. So they are asking for these extended hours. So
That's gonna be fun in the wind and the dropping temperature.
I'm not
I would
going
sure
to be out
pick a
there
different
helping.
week if I were them.
Well, and they may at this
How many
point.
days you say they want?
So they would like 2 days, just to be sure. They really believe that they can do it in 1 day, because they're just going from All-American to Highway 6. So they believe they can do it in 1 overnight period, but they're asking for 2, just in case something happens.
But we could, like you said, give you and Chief McCutcheon the authority to decide what those 2 days are.
If they want to do it, I'm fine with it.
That's my motion. To engineering and OPD determine the dates.
Okay, I think that's the best plan. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, I'll now ask the board to consider an executive session.
Move and consider executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Hey, Rihanna. Never had that much problem with my iPad before. How you got yours delivered?
Did you ever figure he had a brat during the meeting?
Running fiber.
Amanda, quick.